Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I wanted to show you guys how to modify images using the slice and weld tool. Those are probably the two most used tools that I use personally in Design Space. A while ago I wanted to create a sticker, anything mermaid related, but I didn't find anything that I really liked. I wanted to get something that was along these lines, but I wanted to have scales on the mermaid's tail. I couldn't find anything, so I decided to kind of create my own in a way. So on here on the right hand side, you see this is what I created, and then this is what I actually found online. So in order to do this, it's kind of a two-way part, but I already kind of got some of the major tools or major kind of things that I'm going to use. I also found this image by just Googling scales or scales pattern. And then I'm going to use this square shape, which is going to be right off to the left hand bar. If we just hit the shapes button, square, and that's what's going to come up, as well as the circle. And what we're actually going to do is I'm going to bring this up a little bit higher. First of all, I'm going to change the color of the scales by going over here on the right hand side, clicking on this circle, changing it to any color, just because if I put this on top of something else, as you can see, you're going to have a contrast, whereas before it's going to be black on black, which you're not going to be able to see where you're positioning it or anything. But we'll get to that in a little bit. And then our squares and our circle doesn't really matter. So first I'm going to duplicate a few of these because I'm going to use more than one. I'm going to probably just duplicate about 4 of these. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them all, but we'll see, just for some extras. And then the same thing for the square and the circle. It's just a lot easier instead of going back and forth and adding your shapes. And then next I'm going to duplicate our mermaid image. And I'll do just 3. Okay, so what we're going to do first, I'm going to put this one to the side actually. Don't need it right now. Just off to the side you go. Alright, so now that you have your first mermaid image, the first thing that we're going to do, and probably the easiest thing that we're going to do to achieve that look, I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, that should be about okay. We're going to split this mermaid in half. So what we're going to do, let me bring the mermaid image. So we're going to bring that to the back so that way we have the square in the front. By doing so, we'll just click on the mermaid image. We're going to arrange that to move to the back. So now we're going to have our square here. So we're going to slice her in half. And by doing that, it will allow us to add the scales without covering the whole mermaid, because if you can kind of tell, it's a little difficult trying to put the scales. And this is what I learned the first time around, that's why I wanted to share this with you all. It's either going to catch the hair and it's going to slice the hair, or it's going to do something and it's just going to throw everything off. So the easiest way was slicing half of it, and then at the end we'll just weld it back together. So we're not going to use the top portion, so we don't really care if we slice it or anything. So I'm going to probably slice it just a little bit above the waist, probably like around here. So now, in order to slice it, I'm going to go ahead and click on the square image. Next, I'm going to hold down the shift button, and as I'm holding that down, I'm going to click on the mermaid image. So as you see, it's together. So it's attached together. Now we're going to slice it. So at the bottom here, we're going to hit this slice button, and what it's going to do, it acts like a cookie cutter in a way. So we don't have the option of cropping or just removing an image. We have to slice it on Design Space. So now, as you can see, this outline is what it cut out. So we don't need any of this. So we can just delete that, delete that, delete, and then we get this image here. Okay, that's what we're going to work with, and then we're going to continue to slice away the parts that we don't need, because we don't need this part and we don't need the hair either. So I'm going to grab another square. Oops, we're going to click out of that. Okay. So if you keep getting this problem, again, what you would just do is arrange, move back or backwards. Oops, didn't work. Move back. There you go. So now we're going to do the same. We're going to slice this away because we don't need this part. We can probably get rid of a lot of this hair as well with this one square. So we're just going to move that around, get as much off of that bottom portion as we can, and then we're going to do the same thing. Hold shift down and then click on the rest of the image that's connected, and again we're going to hit the slice button. Alright, so we don't need any of this other cutout, so we're just going to delete that. Delete. Now we are down to this bottom part. This is probably a little bit more of the hard part that I found out. So what I'm going to do is I zoomed in, as you can see. The hair is connected to the bottom portion, so this is where the circle comes in, which I found was a little bit easier to use instead of the square. And then let's move this image to the back again. So we're going to do this in portions. And the reason, as you can see, why I zoomed in is because we don't want to cut too much off, and we don't want to distort it, basically. So as you can see, I positioned that as close as I can, as close as I could. And we can begin there. So holding shift in the image, and we're going to slice. And then we're going to get rid of all that unnecessary hair that we're not going to use. Oh, goodness. What happened? Ah, luckily. Undo is going to save your life there. Alright. We're going to go deleting that. And another short way we can just kind of highlight the areas we don't want and just do that or delete, or we can go the other way of just clicking. So again, we're going to use our circle. I'm going to actually duplicate a few of these just in case. We're going to go up here and we're going to do the same thing again. As you saw here, I hit this unlock button to make the circle bigger but not keep its shape as a circle. Once you unlock it, it will change its shape a little. So we're just going to try and get rid of as much of that hair again. We're going to slice. Alright, we're going to get rid of that. And oops, see, this is why it's probably better just to individually delete it, because as you can see there, I did that and it attached everything, and we don't want that to happen, because if we hit delete, then obviously everything's going to go away. So delete and delete. So now we're down to this little piece right there. So what we can do is either leave it, or you can go out and do the same where we're going to delete it with the circle. You can leave it because at the end you can probably just piece it together and it'll kind of mesh because it's hair. It's supposed to be hair. But if you want, you can just slice it. So I'm going to go ahead and slice of that. So it's not perfect, but like I said, you probably won't be able to tell once we put the scales on there. So now what we're going to do is put the scales on here. So we're going to zoom out a little bit now that we have that. And we're going to bring in our scales. And this is where changing the color will help, because let me just show you real quick what it would have looked like, excuse me, if it was all black. So you see, you can't really tell where the scales are and what they're going to look like. So that's why it's a good thing to change the color. Any color doesn't matter. We're going to bring that to the back. So you can either position the scales however you want. You can go a certain way. You can have them going all one same way. The only thing is, if you do that, then it kind of won't flow very well, because then they're just not, the bigger piece here is just not going to look right. Here, I'll show you by just doing a little sample. So we're going to slice. So I mean, you can always leave it like that, or you can piece it. I kind of do like how that looks actually. So we'll leave it like that. How I did it over here, I actually did it in phases. I took the scales and pieced it together. So I'll go from bigger to smaller at the top, but I actually really like how this came out. So we're just gonna leave that. We're gonna delete all this unnecessary scales we have there. So delete that. Now that we have our bottom, the fin, you see there, this is smaller. So it kind of went from bigger to smaller. And then this is just kind of one size. So either one works. I think I actually like both ways, but whatever floats your boat. Alright, so now we're going to put this off to the side again. And now we're going to get our second mermaid. So now we're going to mainly focus on the top portion of the mermaid. So, like we did on the other one, we took off the top. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take off the bottom. So, the easiest way is using the circle instead of the square in this case. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to align that as much as I can right over here. And we're going to go ahead and press Shift and then click on the mermaid, and we're going to slice. Alright, so we're going to delete this, we're going to delete this, and then we're going to do the same with the rest of the fin. Or you can use a square or you can use the circle. Really doesn't matter. We'll do this here. And once you really start getting used to using the slice and the weld, it's like second nature to you. So this is why it's like a good practice tool to do something like this, to kind of alter an image that you already like, or you kind of already got an idea of what you wanted. And then that way you become a pro at using these tools, because at first I was so confused. Oops, let me move that to the back. On how to use the slice and the weld, and you know what the cool little perks were of using them. But now that I am kind of fully aware, there's still some things that I become aware of. So, and it doesn't matter if you get some of the hair there. It's really up to you. If you get it, it's fine. I mean, it won't really make a difference. Alright, so we're gonna slice. Alright, so now we have the top portion. And again, if you don't have to have the scales, you can always put your name. I've seen some people kind of, let me unattach this, move that off to the side so I can delete this stuff here. I've seen some people kind of either put a name on here or put a name like on the fin, or put put mermaid on there. So you can do absolutely anything that you like. Okay, just notice one thing here. You see this little dark spot? I actually forgot to remove it. So I'm just going to go in with the circle since it's right there. I'm going to attach, and slice. Alright, so looks like it's been removed. So now, I'm just going to get rid of the circle here real quick. That. Alright, so now put the circle away. I'm going to get the bottom portion, and what we're going to do is weld these together. So you can move it around, turn it, twist it, do whatever you like to your liking. So I'm going to move this a little bit higher. Let's see, right there. So now we're going to weld these together. So we're going to do the same thing kind of as we did with the slice. We're going to hold down the shift and hold down this first image, and then press on the second image. So as you can see, it's attached, and now we're going to hit weld. And what this is going to do, it's going to basically piece these two images together. So now when you print it out, it won't print individually, because if you don't weld them, if you just attach them, most of the time it's not going to print out together or cut it together. So now it will cut it together. So now we went from this plain mermaid of just dull to adding some nice little scales at the bottom. And you can always change the color of the scales. You can do whatever you want. I'm probably going to make a stencil out of this. I'm not sure yet, but I actually really like both of these, the smaller scale and the larger scale. But I hope this was helpful. If you have anything else in mind, if you want to request anything specifically, let me know. I'm happy to try anything and show you guys anything. I just want to share my knowledge because I know a lot of people share their knowledge with me. But if you like this video, like it and leave a comment at the bottom to let me know that you liked it, and subscribe.